These are the new PSVR controllers, and they have me shocked. How's it going, everybody? My name's Evolve, and today we're talking about the new PSVR controllers. These controllers look crazy, and I have a ton of questions. Like, how are my wrists gonna move around when they're surrounded by a circle? So let's just get into the news and see what's up. And this is crazy, because PSVR could be your next headset. But before I tell you about all that, I'm gonna need you to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't already. And if you're not convinced to subscribe by just me telling you, then go to the link in the description, find where it says don't forget to sub, click that link, and it will take you somewhere where hopefully there I can convince you. Timestamps might be in the description. So these are the next gen PSVR controllers, and they're in an orb style. Obviously, just look at these things. Also, they now have a thumbstick and actual buttons that we need to play VR, unlike those Wiimotes with glowing golf balls on top. Just from the picture, they seem to fit really well in their hands. My only question is, will this block my wrists from moving? Sony says they have it all figured out and that the circle is big enough where I can move my wrist all the way around and the edge of the circle won't touch my wrists. Speaking of Sony, I am shocked at Sony's development not only in the VR space, but in the gaming space altogether, and I'll get into that more later. These new controllers also have adaptive triggers, just like the PS5 controller. There's only thing I wish it did have, which is an adaptive grip button. It would be super cool to grab something in VR and have it fight you back as you try and pick it up, as if it's a real object. The haptic feedback has also been taken straight from the DualSense controller, which I'm not complaining about, because that is some really good haptic feedback. These controllers also tell a lot about what the headset's gonna be like. It's obvious now that the headset's gonna be inside-out tracked because of the tracking rings at the back of the controller, which means they're taking it straight out of Oculus's book. I hope they take the resolution out of Oculus's book too, because who told Sony that pixels were sandpaper? Like the lower the grit doesn't mean it's better. Now for tracking. The controllers will be tracked using inside-out tracking, which is amazing. We don't have that garbage camera that barely even worked, and you couldn't actually turn it all the way around in VR. The tracking ring for the controller is at the back, which means the headset is inside-out tracked. Finally, we don't have to worry about a garbage camera making it so we can only look one direction. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a quick story, so skip to this time if you don't want to hear it. One time my friend came over and all he had was a PSVR, and this was before the whole global pandemic thing, you know? He came over and all he had was a PSVR, and he put on my Quest, and he was so psyched to see that on the Quest they had 360 levels. And I was like, of course they do. And he was like, no, you can't have 360 levels on the PSVR because you can only look 180 degrees, you can only look forward. I was like, oh, what? Anyway, let's get back on track. I think these controllers are going to be the best VR controllers, besides maybe the Knuckles controllers. There are so many benefits to PSVR. The last PSVR got 5 million people into VR, and I can confidently say that the VR industry would not be as far as it is today without PSVR. And even though the first PSVR was kinda not really good, people still bought it because, you know, PlayStation's kinda clouded like that. The headset had really bad resolution, really bad tracking, but it did have a good refresh rate, so at least they got that. And this brings me to why I am shocked with Sony. Sony has done a complete 180 on their mindset of consoles and their mindset of VR. Sony has figured out that they can't beat a PC, and they've realized that they need to master the things that makes a console unique to get sales. I've been a hard Xbox fan for my whole life, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm getting a PS5 this time around. I already have a PC, so I don't need a powerful machine. All I want is a console. That's why I have the Switch. Not for power, but for uniqueness, if that's even a word. I promise I'll get back to the actual controllers soon, just bear with me. But it really seems like Sony has taken a page out of Nintendo's book, while still trying to keep the power from their book. But Sony has taken a lot out of Nintendo's book, because the first Move controllers were originally copies of the Wiimote for the PS3, or the PS Vita that came out after the DS, or the first PlayStation that came out after Nintendo backed out of a deal with Sony to make an add-on for the GameCube. Let's get back on track. The addition of the joysticks on the controllers is very good. A lot of games that were on Quest or on the Index just simply could not be played on the PSVR because there was no joystick. So to combat that, you had to just play VR with the PS4 controller, which wasn't very good and wasn't very immersive. But I think these controllers will fix that. The next PSVR should be cheaper if the PS5 is strong enough to run VR games. Because originally, if you remember, the PSVR needed an extra processor to process the games. Overall, this headset will add more players into VR and more money to developers so they can make more games, and this will just boost the VR industry. Xbox still isn't in VR. They said no one needs VR. And this ties into why I changed consoles, because all they care about is power, and they're not going for the uniqueness that a console needs. They had no games at launch, they had not very next-gen controllers, and it was very, very similar to a PC. But Sony made a good gaming console with things that make a console unique, like games and controllers. I think Sony is gonna go to be the console leader and the VR leader in the future. It's kind of the same as the Apple ecosystem. If you add VR to the PS4, the people are gonna want to buy the same thing for the PS5. They don't want to switch over and have to pay for all these new games and all this new stuff. Kind of like Apple with AirPods, with Apple Watch. Like, I have an Apple Watch and AirPods, and if I wanted to switch to Android, I would have to give both of those up. So I think Sony is gonna be the leader in VR, which kind of scares me a little bit, because Sony did put out that patent about having advertisements in your peripheral vision. I'm really hoping Sony will pull it off and they'll have a really good VR headset. And good job, Sony. You changed a hardcore Xbox fan into a PlayStation fan. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. It was really fun to make this video. I went off the script a few times and it was really fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and you can always unsubscribe whenever you want. Remember, if you're not convinced, then go to the link in the description or hit the card right here, where hopefully there I can convince you. If I can put up 30 videos and end up with over 100 subscribers, then we'll have completed our goal. Anyway, this has been Evolve, and thanks for watching.